Today, I'm going to show you how I made this neutral heart decor, perfect for your home. It's the 4th Friday Open Challenge, hosted by Sarah from Jujubee DIY, and co-hosted by Lisa from Our Gray House. This month's theme is Valentine. I bought this placemat at Dollar Tree, and I thought I could make a kind of wreath out of it. So what I did was I took painter's tape and I shaped it to a heart shape. Then I cut out the heart. So I ended up with 2 pieces. I took some jute twine and, using a pipe cleaner as a needle, threaded it around the outside of the heart. This idea was given to me by my friend Kim Tippin. I just continued threading the jute twine through the little holes, and it was very time consuming. And I did this on a live. If you haven't seen my lives, you should come over. They're really fun. And I interact with the audience. If they have any suggestions, I usually try them. Once I finished with the inside heart, I took the outside heart and I covered the whole outer part with jute twine, just winding it around and around. Now there was this little part that I couldn't get to go right, so I actually cut it off and then I fixed it. You do need a lot of jute twine for this project. I used about a roll and a quarter of the jute twine that I had on hand. Once I continued going around and around with the jute, I took the 2 hearts and I tried to put them together, but they were a bit flimsy. So what I did was I took a wire coat hanger, I unraveled it, and then I bent it into the heart shape and I glued it on the back of the big heart so it would give it more stability. I made 2 bows from some burlap ribbon that I had, and I also had these wooden sunflowers, and I added those on, and here's how it looks. For my next DIY, I took some cardboard and made a heart, and then I took some more jute twine and I wrapped it all around the heart. But first, I'm going to use my homemade finger protectors, which my friend Billy Burt showed me. And basically, all you do is take some painter's tape and put it around your fingers, and it works really good to stop your fingers from getting hot glue on them. Now, you do have to cover the top as well. Don't make that bad mistake like I have in the past. So I put my finger protectors on, and then using hot glue, I wrapped the jute twine around and around the heart, gluing as I went, just in a mishmash, any way going pattern. I kind of wanted like a crisscross looking pattern on it, not a straight up and down or side to side. And so I'm just going around and around and then adding hot glue every once in a while. And here's how it looks like. I had gone to Dollarama, which is a discount dollar store in Canada, and I had gotten this larger rope, and I put that on. And here's how it looks. And I had originally thought of using beads for this, but I didn't have any. So I had these cute rattan balls, and I added those on. But I really didn't like the black color. So using some paint that I also got at Dollarama. First I painted them gold and I didn't like that. So then I changed it to brown and I really liked it. And then just using hot glue, I glued them on. Just adding a little more paint. I was really liking this look because I thought it looked vintage and rustic. I just love the neutral colors for Valentines. Now I had this idea to paint the top thicker jute lines. And I asked my audience, what do you think? Should it be plain or should I color them in? And unfortunately, the audience said plain. But I went with my gut and decided to color them in. And I thought it looked amazing. And also high-end looking once I was done. What do you think? Would you have preferred it plain? Or do you like it colored? Let me know in the comments below. For my next project, I had this wreath form of 2 hearts that I had covered with burlap last year. And I decided I wanted a different look. I also had this grapevine wreath that I had gotten at a garage sale. So I started taking apart the grapevine wreath and I was hot gluing all of the pieces onto the 2 hearts. And that's basically all I did for this, is take apart the wreath and put it on this wreath form. Now I did have to be careful because at the top of the wreath, I wanted it to look more like a heart. So I had to cut pieces of the grapevine wreath and shape them into a heart shape at the top. And this did take a long time because each time I had to cut off pieces of the wreath, the grapevine, and then I had to hot glue it into place on the wreath, all while I was on a live and chatting with the chatters, interacting with the guests. I originally got this wreath at Dollar Tree. They had it last year. And I really love it because it's 2 hearts, not just 1. Now, I had put burlap ribbon on it last year with peach color roses, and I thought it looked beautiful. But I was really going for a neutral theme this year. And I thought with the grapevine wreath, and then I had these white flowers that I had gotten at Dollarama. They were only $1.50 per bunch. And I really liked them because they were baby's breath. And they went with my theme very well. So I'm just adding them on. Now what I decided to do was, at first I was going to cut each piece and put it on, but I ended up putting on each bunch, and then I ended up cutting a little bit off a couple of other ones just to fill it in. Once I did all that, I had these other white flowers that had baby's breath in them. And I had just cut out the little baby's breath and put those on in different spots. So if I found there was a spot that was empty or didn't look as full, I added in those extra pieces there. So I'm just continuing on gluing down all of the baby's breath. The wreath is turning out really pretty and full. And here's how it looks. I was really liking it a lot. But I thought it needed a little something more. So I looked around my room and I had this little garland. I took out 2 white roses and added more baby's breath. So I'm just deciding where I'm going to put the flowers here. I also had the peach flowers and I was considering using those. But the white ones looked so beautiful. I just loved it. And I was just deciding where to put them. I was asking the audience here. But after standing up, I didn't like them up there. And my friend Favi from Arrows DIY suggested I put it at the bottom. And so I did. For my last DIY, I appeared on Connie's Creative Creations Live. And I was making some gnomes. And I had taken this champagne glass and some more of that rope from Dollarama, and I was just wrapping it all around the champagne glass, the top of it. I had turned it upside down. And once I got to the top, I just glued that on with hot glue. And I had this ribbon, this wiry gold ribbon, and I decided to use that for the top or the hat of the gnome. I wanted this to be a girl gnome, and I wanted her to be neutral, but also have a little bling to her. So what I did was I wrapped around and around the ribbon all the way to the top, and I even wrapped at the very top as well. But in the live, someone suggested that the gnome looked like Guinan from Star Trek. So using my scroll saw, I turned around and scrolled off the top. Having a scroll saw comes in handy for times like these. Once the top was off, I made sure to hot glue the ribbon all around so it was perfectly on top. And then I took some more of that rope and I unraveled it and I made 2 braids for my little girl gnome, and I put a couple of Valentine hearts on her, and I gave her a little nose. I want to thank Sarah from Jujubee DIY and Lisa from Our Great House for hosting this awesome Valentine collaboration. Make sure to check out their links in the description box below, and don't forget to check the playlist. And I also want to thank Billy, Connie, Favi, and all my guests at the live. Thank you so much for your input and inspiration. Painted Yarn Heart. If you want to see more on this idea, click the next video.